Transportation Authority never ran the calculation on the Key Bridge, and as of October 2024, they still haven't on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
The NTSB says Maryland dropped the ball on bridge safety, neglecting steps that could have prevented the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge nearly a year ago. And now even more bridges are under scrutiny. Thanks for staying up with us. I'm Nikki Zizaza, and tonight the question everyone wants to know, are Maryland's bridges safe? A year ago next week, the Key Bridge fell into the Patapsco River after it was hit by a massive cargo ship. As our Kelsey Kushner reports during an update Thursday afternoon, the chair for the NTSB says because of years of oversight, another Maryland bridge, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, is also at risk.
Well, Chairman Jennifer Homendy says that the MDTA failed to provide the proper vulnerability assessments on the Key Bridge, putting thousands of people at risk. She also says MDTA has failed to provide those same tests on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
MDTA would have known the risk and could have taken action to safeguard the Key Bridge. Had they done that, the collapse could have been prevented.
In a bombshell report from the National Transportation Safety Board, Chair Jennifer Homendy says the Maryland Transportation Authority failed to conduct a risk assessment that, if acted upon, could have prevented the deadly collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge nearly a year ago.
This is not new. They could have been evaluated. MDTA could have done this evaluation numerous times over the past several decades.
According to investigators, the American Association of State Highway and Transportation issued safety recommendations for the bridge back in 1991 and 2009, but those recommendations were never executed.
Had the MDTA conducted a vulnerability assessment of the Key Bridge based on recent vessel traffic, the MDTA would have been able to proactively identify strategies to reduce the risk of a collapse and loss of lives.
Upon the NTSB's findings, Homendy says the level of risk for a catastrophic collapse was nearly 30 times higher than acceptable risk levels for the Key Bridge and 15 times higher for Pier 17, one of the bridge's key pillars that was struck by the dolly.
It's something that MDTA could have known and should have known.
Homendy called the findings a surprise, adding MDTA officials have failed to conduct proper tests and data on vessel traffic. But it's not just the Key Bridge. According to the NTSB, 68 bridges nationwide, including the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, are at risk of the same fate, something Maryland drivers tell WJZ is a major concern.
You feel it shaking when you're on there, and if you ever stop, like a traffic jam, yeah, it's like a roller coaster. It shakes the whole time.
The risk of the Bay Bridge is unknown because Homendy says the state has not collected the data for it, and at last check in October, MDTA said there were no plans to.
I think somebody dropped the ball. Somebody needs to go ahead and, and regulate that. So, you have to, if we have all these safety inspectors or whatever, shoot, do your job.
And WJZ did reach out to MDTA and Governor Westmore, but we are still waiting to hear back. Reporting in Baltimore, Kelsey Kushner, WJZ.
Kelsey, thank you. Next Wednesday, as we mark 1 year since the Key Bridge collapse, join WJZ for a 1-hour live broadcast. We'll look back on that tragic day, remember the victims, honor the first responders, and look toward the future and rebuilding. Watch Key Bridge 1 year later this coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. on WJZ TV and streaming on CBS News Baltimore.